drivers on the circuit, it's about the vehicle. Others, it's about speed. For me, it's really always been about competition.
You know, when you show up at the racetrack, everybody's there to win. That's everyone's goal. If it wasn't everybody's goal, you might as well not show up.
You know, when the engines are rolling and your cars are going, you either bring back the checkered flag or you wreck trying. One of the coolest things about our sport and driving the NASCAR Cup Series cars is we're racing against top talent across the country. Forza Motorsport 6 is a great avenue for us to be able to race against the world at all these different types of racetracks, like Le Mans.
You can take on NASCAR. You can take your NASCAR and challenge the world. Any scenario that you want to put yourself in, you have that ability in the game. And that's just the high I've always chased.
I would like to see, you know, some of these stock cars race against those V8 supercars, see how they do maybe at a road course like Watkins Glen.
In a dream scenario, I mean, I would love to go back in time and, you know, any of that old vintage stuff, if it's F1 or IndyCar, and take on NASCAR.
They're going to see a lot of the real thing built into this game. You know, the cars, the way they drive dynamically and physically, the way they look, everything aesthetically looks pretty cool. And of course, too, you know, the drafting aspect of the game, it's right there on top.
I spent a lot of time working through the handling characteristics of the car, from things that we're seeing on the road courses into the draft at Daytona. It reminds me so much of the time I spend with my engineers. There's some pretty amazing data that's gone into the game to create the authentic and real experience. NASCAR fans have been very excited to feel and experience the real things that exist on the racetrack or now in Forza Motorsport 6. I can take my low Chevrolet, my NASCAR vehicle, and go race it anywhere in the world. It's awesome.
Coming from the gaming side of me, I think that's fun, and I think that'll bring a good time to people.
We've taken a very durable vehicle with way too much horsepower on a small tire and said, go have fun. Nobody does NASCAR like Forza Motorsport 6. Head-to-head combat, Forza Motorsport 6, I'm the guy that's gonna win.
I think my first lap at Circuit of the Americas was faster than his, so just saying, that's all.
It's the first time we've had sprint cars in the Forza series. NASCAR get to take the sprint car cups out on these world-renowned tracks, whether it's Le Mans or the Nordschleife or what have you, as well as head-to-head racing. So take the sprint car against a Super V8 car or sprint car against a more historical Grand Prix car and see who comes out on top. It's going to be a lot of fun. One of the hallmarks of the Forza Motorsport franchise is realism, and it's one of the things that the team really takes to heart and spends a lot of time and focus on. So making the game experience as real to the world as possible is really important to us. And so being able to get feedback from professional drivers that can input on what it actually feels like to be on the bank at Daytona, for example, in the draft, and just the dynamics of that, it's really fascinating. And some of the analogies the drivers use around talking about bubbles and air pockets and how to best use that to your advantage as you're a driver, and in this case as a gamer, was really interesting to us and allowed us to do a lot of work in game to sort of make that feel as real as possible. Gives our development team, who haven't had that experience, the chance to build that tech into the game. So you as a player, you as a consumer, can feel as real as it can get, as close as you can get to being in the seat of a NASCAR.
Sonoma's tricky. It's a very tight racetrack. First and foremost, your braking points, get those ironed out quickly. And then also remember, as you leave the apex of the corner, there's not a lot of road out there. It's a pretty narrow racetrack. So Daytona's a bit tricky. You're not gonna have a spotter. You have to pay attention to some little arrows that show you where cars are inside and outside of you. So a little different environment, but those arrows are there to help you.
Racing it in the draft and in these stock cars is just making the most of the momentum that you have. If a guy's pushing you, making sure that you make the right move with that momentum that he's going to create and trying to move forward.
You're playing on the hardest difficulty in the game. Unbeatable. This is the first time that I've ever played a video game with someone who has actually been in the experience that we're doing.
you run in too hard, you really pay the price, and that's really accurate to real life.
Jeb, the first thing I noticed when we sat down is how, like, your skill set completely translates into the game.
It does, for sure. The braking, the arc in the corners, it's all very, very similar. You can feel the draft right here. Pay attention.
You're
really
just
what
whizzing
you're
by,
doing.
guys. And by the way, we are on the hardest difficulty in the game. You're whizzing by, guys.
And also look at your mirrors. I came across Kyle Busch's nose right there, and he almost crashed me.
So what is my strategy in a rolling start? Do I want to stay in the pack? Do I want to?
I usually give myself probably about 5 or 6 foot gap in between me and the next car, and I'll try to time when the guys in front of me are going to go so I can get a head start on the guy in front of me. I can pull down and make that pass before we get into turn 1.
Pack racing and drafting in the pack. What are the strategies there?
It's just like the game. You're sucking up to the guy in front of you, and you can kind of slingshot around him, kind of like, you know, the Ricky Bobby movie, how you just shake and bake a little bit.
And the game actually will show you in the UI that you're drafting, and it will change audio cues. Perfect draft. I love that. How do you know when to draft and when not to draft?
Well, drafting down the straightaways is a lot better than in the corner, just because you're out of the gas in the corner and you're trying to let the car handle. And I don't know what's been going on the last minute, but I've got passed a lot.
Well, it's because I'm talking your ear off. You're also, I should say again, you're playing on the hardest difficulty in the game. Unbeatable. It does have the haptic feedback on the triggers to try to give you that sense of rumble. Because I mean, just as a person that drives a car in life, so much of it comes from feel, not from looking and listening.
For sure, like I said about corner, you can feel this thing vibrate. I'll show you right here. I can feel it. It's vibrating right now of me sliding through the front tires.
Now, how do you prepare to race a track for the first time?
I watch a lot of prior races.
I feel like this would be an amazing tool as well, actually.
This would, because everything on this game is just like real life. If you look around to the grass where the entry to the pit area is.
It's amazing to be able to have like the authentic teams. And also, you know, the UI is giving you stuff that you don't have in real life, like, you know, telling you you've got people to the right and to the left of you.
Well, I have a spotter. That grandstand right there at most racetracks telling me inside, outside, when to pit.
That's pretty cool. There's now pitting in Forza as well. How do you determine when it's time?
Your tires will wear out, so if you have a vibration with a tire going down, or if you have a problem, you can pit. But
that is very cool, man. Yeah, there's a lot of settings that you can tweak. What would you mess with?
And I'll start like right here at the race shop, and everything the team does. The stuff we're doing on the game right here is kind of a little bit of that. So we can mess with the tire pressure a little bit. We'll go down.
So the trade-off you're making is performance, but it's going to wear quicker, so you might have to make a pit stop quicker.
It's risk versus reward. Rebound and shocks, more rebound is grip. Drivers love downforce and side force, because the more downforce you have, the faster you're going to get.
Okay. So let's crank it up. Why wouldn't we want to crank it up?
Right, we're going to crank that way up.
Cranking it way up. So do you already feel the difference?
I do.
Yeah?
The car's turning better. The car just has overall more grip.
I love how you know. It's so cool. You just feel it. Are you...
Well, I just caused a big wreck.
Whoops, you can push Y.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I needed that a couple weeks ago.